This is Interview at the Catlow Theatre, Part 2.
I mean, we have a pretty decent sound system, and we have a pretty good projector with a backup, and I think we do a pretty professional job, considering.
Right. Now, do they still use the old-time projector, or how does that work?
Well, not the carbon arcs, but we do have reels of film that are, put onto the projectors. So we're kind of in the middle of the old.
So what do you call the movie operator? Is it called movie operator?
You can call him a movie operator. You can call him a projectionist. We just lost ours, who was with the theater from 1946. He died, and he was just a gas. I mean, he was so amazing, and he just died on November 1st. So we're kind of still reorganizing and trying to keep us up and running without him.
Yeah, I read that story. Very, sorry about the loss there.
We're sad.
Hopefully, you'll get another replacement that'll fit the shoes.
Yeah, but where do you get that history from, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, how do you replace a person who was there in after World War II? It's like, wow, this guy really knew his stuff too. He knew everything about when the old owner owned it, when the middle owner owned it, everything that happened, every building problem. He was a good guy.
Now, how long was he there for?
He was there since 1946.
1946. Wow, that's quite some time to put in there.
I know.
And I'm sure he's got some stories. Did you ever have anything outrageous happen there? Any stories?
No. Yeah, nothing too outrageous. Sometimes the outrageous things kind of get folded over by new outrageous things. I mean, anytime you're dealing with the public, it's kind of like, what? What are you thinking? Like, how is this happening? But
right.
We've kind of, we haven't had anything that crazy.
Oh, no hauntings or anything like that?
What is it?
No hauntings or anything like that?
Oh, well, we've had some paranormal people come through and say you have ghosts all over the place, but,
oh, I see.
I mean, I've had 3 different sets of people tell me that I needed to have, somebody come and get the ghosts out of my building, but we've really never seen anything. I mean, honestly, me and my partner have both been there at like 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, if it was going to happen, I'd almost think it would happen then. But
right, exactly.
There was people floating on the ceiling and old ushers walking up and down the aisles. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, you also have a restaurant that's inside the theater, also, Baloney's?
Yeah.
So could you tell me a little bit about that?
That's how we started. In 1981, the old owner had built himself a little, sandwich shop next door, and then he had hoped that his wife and daughters would be interested in it, but they weren't. So we were over there seeing the movie Superman, and there was this kid going up and down the aisles, and I don't know, today I might be a lot more tolerant, but in those days I just was very nervous about this kid. So I got up and I was walking around the building, and I asked the young fellow working, I said, "What's over there?" And he said, "Oh, nothing." And I go, "Well, it looks like something. What is it?" And he said, "No, it's just this thing, this restaurant. It's never open." I go, "Okay, all right, well," and then we asked who the owner was, and we called the old owner, and then he had us come in, and then we told him, hey, we'd love to try renting that if you really don't want it. And so we did, and that's how it all started. He was a very nice guy. He gave us a good break, and he was always fair with us. So, for a 22-year-old and a 29-year-old guy, I'm the 22-year-old girl, and he's a 29-year-old guy. We did pretty well. I mean, it was nice to have kind of a father-like figure around as your landlord instead of just, some cold corporation, whatever. So we had a great start. And then, like I said, when he talked about selling it, my partner said, "We better buy it." So we did.
You got right on that, huh?
Yeah, he's a guy that makes quick decisions.
I see. My kind of guy.
I was terrified, though, I'll tell you that much. I mean, I just was waiting for us to lose everything because it just didn't seem possible that, you could come from Des Plaines where my dad barely had a 6th grade education and I was a horrible student and had I worked all my life. Like, every time I worked, everybody seemed to like me and I did a good job, but I never really thought I'd own my own business, let alone buy buy a building attached to a business and then, be a real respectable business person.
Right, it is.
But I sure have tried to maintain that image, by being a good person and doing a good job and being fair with people and not letting them be disappointed,
Right. Well, it has its challenges, that's for sure.
Thank you.
So now you just went through all this. Now, as far as the restaurant, did you have to go to any sort of, like cooking or anything like that, school?
Well, we kind of originally were going to do the hot dog, thing. We had been looking at a couple little hot dog stands, and this didn't have any fryer, hoods or anything. So we went to a little class at Harper. Funny that you said that. And it was a how to start your own business class. And that's about it. That was our training. And then my brother had been in the meat industry, he worked for Sara Lee. So he used to bring us over samples and stuff. So we kind of knew what was out there. But everywhere we went for sandwiches, you go there once and it was great, and the second time they either didn't have what you wanted or they changed the menu. So one thing he taught me, and I mean I do respect my brother because he is retired, and he's pretty young still. But you have to be consistent. We try to maintain a consistent product. When people come in with their friends from out of town, it's going to taste the same as the first time they came in, So I think that's real important in restaurants, and I think it's something that people forget about now, McDonald's didn't get where they are today by not being consistent, So since 1981, we've pretty much been a consistent product.
That is great. Yes, consistency is important.
I think so, yeah.
And you have some awesome sandwiches, by the way.
Thank you.
So if anybody listening has never been to Catlow Theater and never had one of the bologna sandwiches, you have to go over there and check it out. It's a experience you won't forget.
Thank you. We work a ridiculous amount of hours and giving up holidays, and every time you think that, even if it's Sunday when the heater breaks, you're in there fixing it. I mean, on top of owning a business, owning a building is a job in itself. I mean, especially a 1927 special. I could tell you everything about that building, from the heating system to the air conditioning to the water to the plumbing. I mean, we just know everything.
That's great. I mean, it takes a lot, and you got to know, your way around some of that stuff as far as maintaining it, save a buck or two.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, anytime we've had repairmen come through, I'm usually they're learning what they've done. So just in case, just a possibility that the same thing happens again, you kind of have a heads up on it. The refrigeration is really my life, though, because when we own the restaurant, I mean, the thing you really have to worry about is the refrigerators. And, you want to keep your products fresh. You don't want to have to worry about somebody getting sick. And refrigerators are kind of like a piano. You just constantly have to tune them up and keep on them. And I'll blow out the compressors and I'll check everything. I'm just really a refrigeration freak because I hate it when you go to a restaurant and something doesn't taste right or you don't feel too well after you eat. So my goal is to try and have people not walk away like that. And one of the things is keeping the fridges up and running in a perfect condition, and that's what I do.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Roberta.
You're welcome.
On We, the podcast, we're talking to co-owner Roberta Rapata. And also we had Tim O'Connor. He's the owner. He couldn't make it with us today. Also, Roberta's going to offer 1 free popcorn and 1 free soda. That's right, 1 free popcorn and 1 free soda. That's 1 per family. Just mention We, the podcast, at your next visit at the Catlow. Offer expires January 31st, 2010. Once again, thank you very much, Roberta. You could also visit the Catlow Theater's website at www.thecatlow.com. That's www.thecatlow.com. Once again, I'm your host, Mark Presley, right here on We the Podcast. And if you have a story you'd like to share, just visit our website at peoplesamericanstories.info. Click on the podcast link, fill out the application, and you too can be on We the Podcast. Thank you. In closing, I would like to give a very special thank you to all the true American heroes out there who serve in our armed forces, without whom this podcast series and our freedoms would not be possible. Thank you. God bless.